We are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Reseller Chinwag. I was going to say Tat Chat.
I know.
Yeah.
Wrong day.
Wrong day, yeah. It's been a long day, guys. Welcome to Reseller Chinwag. I'm looking at the title just to remember it. Number 15.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoy the show tonight. We've got a little topic lined up for you guys, which is, as you can see from the title, progression as resellers. How far have we come? So we're going to talk about that from the perspective of myself, who I've been reselling for about 2.5 years, and you, who's been doing it for about 5 months. Yeah. So we're going to have a nice little range, and we can talk about how far we've come from when we started.
We'll obviously start with our usual update, won't we?
Yeah, exactly. But before we do all that, that's like the topic. So we'll say a few hellos. We've got 31 people watching us, which is fantastic. Lee Smith says, "Am I the first one here?" It looks like it. Darren Smart's in the chat as well. So hello. Amanda's in the chat. Leanne, hello, Leanne. Chelsea, Nick is in here as well. Geordie Reseller as well, Chris Gotts, so hi there. French Fancies as well. I was just trying to pick up some names. I've said Chelsea already, haven't I? Richard Hale, Caroline, David McGregor, Hicksey's in here, Fake Rachel's in here. Going to try and watch and put Olive to bed. Well, good luck with that. So Steve's in the chat as well. Malinky, Nick Evans, Carp Fishing, and to everyone else. As Sean's just joined us as well. So good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bloody windy too, says Leanne. Orchard Girl says hi as well.
Tell us about it. Do you know what? The wind was really, really awful.
It was mental.
Actually.
It was.
Recycling bins were like
just
right
flying.
at the back of the garden with the shed.
And I've got to say, I'm a bit upset with the weather. We got no snow really to speak of. Okay, now
I'm quite happy about that.
We've moved 270 miles, right? And if I'd stayed in Croydon, I would have had snow. Okay, and I had, I had friends posting up their snow photos from like Croydon and that area, and up here I was thinking, I'm gonna get like completely avalanched or something, up north and everything. Whenever I was down south, I always used to look at the weather forecast when it was snowing, and it was always the north that got the snow. And guess what? We come up north, and where's the snow? I don't have any. Absolutely terrible. I'm really upset about that. I will get over it though, so it's not like the end of the world. But I was pretty bothered about that for some reason, and I wanted to just share it. John Brady as well. Hi, we've just been watching Jason T. Smith from yesterday. Kevin Rosen says hi. Johnny D. Steve Hawkins. M. Mass. Funky Monkey. Some awesome usernames. Raz. Gary Dunster's in here as well. I've said Kevin Rosen, I'm not sure. Where's Duffer Cat? Johnny D says not a single flake. Emma says always jealous of Z's hair, maybe because I'm bald. You know what? Thankfully I don't have a hair problem apart from it's always a mess. But okay. Caroline says not a single flake in Newton. Richard, no snow in Southampton. Covered this morning, says Steve, but it's all gone. I'm just disappointed. Gary says never snowed in Southeast London either. Not what I heard. I know my friends. I've got friends living like New Addington, they
live because they
higher
live
up
on higher ground. So I think that's why they get it, because you don't always get it in Croydon. And we know that.
Exactly. Pete Hill says he had loads of snow in Wolverhampton. We had an inch, says Steve. I mean, we're not going to just do snow chat as much as I'd love to, because I love snow chat. I was honestly, after Rebecca, I was refreshing the BBC weather page.
I kept running to the windows and going.
I was refreshing the weather page, and the thing is, what's terrible about refreshing the weather page, at one point in the evening it was saying heavy snow, wasn't it? I wasn't going crazy. And it was exactly. Richard Payne says hi as well. Johnny's put in a quality joke there. Well, we've got 58 people watching. So what we're going to do is we're going to get on with like the usual, how we did in the past week, etc. And we're going to talk about like the title as well. You know, progressing as resellers. Steve Hawkins says, I bottled some to send to some idiots abroad. Well, Steve, that sounds good. Snow is overrated anyway, says Kevin. I don't think so. No, I don't want to be a weatherman, Nick. I'm not up for being a weatherman. It's I just want some bloody snow. Okay, I want to open the door and like not be able to open the door because there's snow. I really want snow. Anyway, no snow more. Okay, cut the snow chat, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna start. Sales were bad for most of the week.
Yeah.
Yes. And they've just picked up. We had the beauty of having like a couple of big ticket items, it can help out. I think we were doing around I don't know, we weren't doing, we were nowhere near £100 a day, which is what we aimed for.
We actually dropped this week.
Yeah.
So.
Even now, I think for the week the turnover's around the 600-ish mark, so we're under.
It might just be a little under this.
I think it's maybe a tiny bit under, but it's around that though. It's around that. We've noticed sales coming in from yesterday. Today's been okay as well so far, things coming in. We've got some bids on a couple of auctions we've got ending at the weekend as well, stuff that I wanted to just get moved along. So it's going to turn out, I can see, to be like a normal week. I think we might just make the £100 a day turnover target, but it's definitely slowed down. Johnny D says yes, it's slowed down. Carp Fishing asks, have you listed your clothes yet, guys? Come on, Beck.
I got 19 items listed over
since yesterday.
Today,
so we've got 19 of the clothing items done.
I'm going to be, after this chat, hopefully taking another 20 items and photographing.
Well, exactly. So, well, considering that's quite.
I probably won't get those listed tonight, but I at least want the photos.
Well, it's a good percentage of them, isn't it? 19 items. Them, so 19 items out of 73. It's one of those where, like, we've done quite a fair bit. We've done a fair bit. I'm opening myself up here for criticism, but I'm going to be honest. I haven't listed anything. Should I just get that slap out?
It's not really a surprise. I feel I'm going to get that framed and just
put it above.
Here.
So I can just look at it, like, a reminder. I personally haven't listed anything. Beck's been doing all the listing, but what I will say,
there is reason to that. Though,
I've been doing a lot of fixing up.
And you've been doing a lot of the clean.
Yes.
Cleaning up of certain items and fixing of some items that needed to kind of have a look at.
Exactly.
I'm words out today.
Oh, don't worry. Just try harder. Just try harder. Yeah. Anyway. Ian McMillan says, at last I found the chat. Hello, Snow Joke. Ian agrees it's been slow as well. It's been a bit slow. Sales have been few and far between, says Leanne. El Smith says she only had like a small sale in the last few days. It happens. Steve Hawkins says, mid-January, lull, definitely. Steve says that as well. eBay's been slow past couple of days, but thankfully picked up today. Yeah, Nick, we noticed that it's been slow for the beginning of the week, but then yesterday was nice.
Come together towards the end of the week.
And I think that's when it's nice to have a couple of those high ticket items, because it can make you feel better. It can make you feel better because you might not deserve it, but it makes you feel better. So if you have a nice high ticket item sale, it can just make the week. It adds up, doesn't it? Because you might not have as many sales one week, but if the sales that you have got are higher value, it makes up for it. So you want to have like a nice balance, don't you? Really, a lot of sale, a decent number of sales going through, but you also want like the average amount to be respectable as well. So we're happy with that. Chris says he's had a decent week. Yes, definitely. French Fancy says busy at the beginning of the week, slowed to one sale today. It happens. Sean as well agreeing. Gary says oops, so I'm guessing that's about the I can see the surprise comments about listing. Nobody is too surprised, it seems. Yeah, I you know, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's but I've been doing a lot of other stuff. Get your finger out, poor Bexy. Nick, I've been doing stuff. The Hixie says don't make excuses for him, but I do. But come on, defend me here.
You do
defend
stuff.
me. I
And
do.
there is
Yeah.
reason behind it, because
Like today
with
was
the
a good reason as
clothing,
well. Yeah.
because I'm listing it. I'm the one that's
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
I want to list it. I want to do the photographs.
Well, this kind of comes into the progression.
Yeah.
This comes in a little bit to our topic, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So you're not going to explain it. Explain it. Yeah.
I was just saying, like, I want to go through the process of photographing it, because when I'm photographing it, I'm looking to see if there's anything wrong with it at all, if there's anything I need to pick out.
Yeah.
So that when I come to listing it, I can just point those bits out and then that's it. Whereas if Sahir then does the photographs or does something else, and then it's kind of me asking you all the
And it reminds me of something that Fake Rachel said in one of her videos, that she's one of those people that can't learn from watching.
Yeah.
That's
a big
because
point,
that was the cause of a little bit of friction in the beginning when we were first working together. I was like trying to help because I was like, well, I'm here, use what I know, you know, take advantage of it. And you'd get a bit frustrated with that approach. And I think you've definitely, like the progression element, because you've kind of thrown yourself in at the deep end. And obviously this varies, doesn't it? Because not everyone's the same. So I wouldn't like to be thrown in at the deep end. I'd like to kind of slowly, but you do.
I mean,
So
I work quite well under a lot of pressure. So
well, Gary's making me feel better. He says he's only listed 2 today if it helps. I did do some listing. No, I did some listing. Hold on. I just got a bad brain. Yeah, I did do some. Yeah, it's just not as. It's just she does so many. It makes it look like I haven't done it. I did a couple. World exclusive. Need to sit down in Shoxy. Okay. Okay. If it wasn't on FBA, I'd be on rations this week, says Leanne. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a quiet time. Only Messenger, we know you're a grafter, says Nick. Ixie goes, no, he's not. You cheeky git, graze him. Yeah, Steve's back with some quality quips in the chat.
On kebabs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Sean was like, go on, tell us, you know, when you were trying to explain. But I do things, honestly. But no, you know what? I'm not going to go and get to that point where I'm just desperate to explain what I do. All I'm going to say is I do things. Okay, let's leave it at that. I do things. Don't I do things? Yeah. I do things. Okay. Now, it might not always be listing, but I do things. Exactly. Lie, bands and fires be ill. Carp Fishing asks, are you guys looking to significantly increase your income this year as you're both full-time at it? I really want to see you guys progress to buying a house, etc. That's our dream, isn't it? Yeah, that's our goal. That's our goal. We are not a dream, it's a goal. Yeah.
Step things up a little bit more this year, aren't we?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we're again it's with the progression. We've, you know what, like I've been doing this for like 2.5 years now, and you know, at first you would never have considered doing this, but slowly it got to the stage where you saw that I was getting enough kind of income in, you know, enough turnover, enough income that it started to attract you a bit. Like you started to think, you know, like maybe there's a better way, until, you know, the move up here, etc. By then you were convinced that, because I'm guessing what you thought.
Should we start on our topic?
Yeah, we'll start on the topic. Let's start on the topic. Yeah, I get the impression. I'm gonna start off with this. I get the impression you saw what I was doing, and you thought, if that lazy bugger can do that much, I'm gonna smash it. Is that?
Pretty much.
Yeah. See, I think. I think that shows two good things though, because it shows what can be achieved with reselling, and you don't need to kind of destroy your life completely. Obviously you don't want to take it too easy, and I'm obviously guilty of that sometimes.
I mean, we can both,
and it's not about taking it too easy, it's I get distracted.
I was going to say, we can both agree we both have different approaches to work. Yours is a little bit more laid back and relaxed than mine.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I think you saw what I was managing to turn over with my attitude, or whatever you want to call it, or my work ethic, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm guessing you thought to yourself, and I'm not saying that as a dig to you, but did you just think to yourself, if he can do that, like, then?
Yeah, I mean,
just be honest.
Yeah, I suppose I did. I looked at
Oh,
him and I
fine.
just thought,
Oh, fine.
he's not the most hardworking out there. I bet he spends most of his time on YouTube or Facebook.
Where'd you get that idea from, Beck? You know, but yeah, so that was, in a way, that shows two things. It shows that you can earn an income, at least, you know, at least an income by just chilling out, and not chilling out, but by not like completely going hell for leather. But on the other side, if you do go hell for leather, I think this is that whole thing where we always talk about, when as resellers, and I've talked about this with Nick as well, what's lovely about working for yourself is that whole formula of you get out what you put in. Whereas when you're working for someone, you don't necessarily, that doesn't normally equate. You can work really hard but not necessarily get remunerated, is that the word for it, properly? Whereas when you work for yourself, it's a much more even formula, like in terms of what you put in, you know, is what you get out. I
mean, there is that, like, you know, however much you want to work.
Yeah. And we both bring different things, I suppose. We've learned each other's habits. Like I
think it's kind of a bit unfair to say that I'm like thinking about it, saying like I saw you doing it, and I thought, oh yeah, it, you know, if he can do it, anyone can do it. But because you did actually work hard, because I didn't do any of the listing back then. I had the full-time
packing, and I still do all the packing.
I mean, I don't really get involved in that unless
it's packing a sewing machine this morning, guys. It's not fun.
It's like really, really like
Basic.
like you really need me to come and help package.
I do it all exactly. So there are things exactly.
I don't get involved in.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anyway.
Southwest says, "Are you wearing the new T-shirt?" No, I'm not.
No.
What other questions? We had a few other comments. Sean says, they say if you say something like "I do things" 5 times, everyone will believe it. But I do things. It's the facts. I do things, people. Just I do things. All right. So it's I've said it a few times apparently. It's about balance, he says, Nick. I sometimes do way too much and sometimes completely slack off. Finding the middle ground is difficult. That's a very good point.
It is.
Yeah, because you're someone, once you get going, I think your personality kind of matches what Nick says there, that once you start, that's it, you go off. Kevin says, have you considered working separately? You both went to the auction the other day. It seems like an inefficient use of time. Kevin, that's a good point.
It is.
But again, it's that balance. We love hanging out together. We absolutely love it.
We do, and also with the way we're trying to do the business, it like when it comes to sourcing, we don't want it just to be from one person's point of view, because Zahir will pick up stuff that I wouldn't touch, and then I pick up stuff that he wouldn't touch. And
again, it's the progression. It's about getting your experience up as well, because if I'm aware, because we could very easily be like, to make it efficient, I just go out and find stuff.
But then
you're not going to learn
back with half of the stuff that,
and plus you'll never learn. Like to whatever I could, you might pick up from me, or
we kind of agree that it is.
It's a good point. It is inefficient, but it's part of the reason why I like working like this lifestyle, isn't it? It's, you know, we just love hanging out, don't we? We love going.
And plus, if I didn't go with it to the auction with him, we would have had nothing to list.
Yeah, I probably would have ended up with nothing. I think I would have gone on the first lot. That was it on the second lot. No, exactly. Ads is in the chat as well. Finn Fashion's in the chat as well. So yeah, definitely got to say, Daniel, you don't have to be sorry that you're late or anything. Question: how much can you sell an Xbox original controller for? Competition X Script. I have no clue, Raz. You have to just search completed listings. Are you still 20 a day? Nick says we're still aiming for that. We are pretty much there, more or less.
Yeah.
It's good. Old advert, we want to be together. Johnny D. It's like my quote now. I do things. Sean says we also enjoy sourcing together. I think that. I think that you know what, when you take this step, like to resell stuff or to work for yourself from home, you do it normally from a place. In our case, anyway, we both had gotten fed up of working with the restrictions of other people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the time you give to someone else, etc., it's so much more. This is so much more freedom.
Yeah.
Obviously, with freedom or power, like Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. With freedom comes a lot of responsibility, doesn't it? Because you've got to use your time properly. And so I kind of think that you have to do certain things, but again, it's not for everybody. Some people would work better separately. It's one of those things.
I mean, there are sometimes like like today.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't come with you to. Actually, did you?
Oh yeah. Well, Nick says we enjoy sourcing together as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, generally we will try and source together. Sometimes I'm not around. And then you will be doing pickups and stuff like that all by yourself.
Speaking of which, guys.
Yeah, do you want to
show? Yeah. Well, Beck was out today. I popped out and I got an amazing snipe today. I'm really pleased with this. I've got myself a bean grinder. No other way to put it. It's a coffee bean grinder. Oh. Okay, it weighs a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
gonna put it on my manky knee. Okay, so put the lid there.
Yeah, be careful with your knee.
There we go. This thing weighs a ton, but that is a commercial. That's what a bean grinder looks like. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm gonna sell it or keep it yet, but I've got a feeling. I don't know.
You'll probably play around with it first before you even bother selling it. So.
I don't know. It's heavy as hell. There we go.
I just like to say, it won't fit in our kitchen. It's too big.
I think we could make it fit if we're, you got to have a can-do attitude with these things.
Yeah.
If you just give up. Now, that cost me, believe it or not, guys, that cost me 20 quid. Yeah. £20, which is insane. It did take me also an hour to drive there and an hour to drive back, with the petrol costs associated with that. But that is, as Richard Payne says, that is a quality bean grinder. It really is commercial bean grinder.
I mean, our old one that we got rid of
was similar to that.
One. It was a similar one.
20 quid is, I mean, Leanne says that still, it is a complete steal. I'm in two minds. I mean, this thing was listed really badly, and I'm grateful for that, because
they didn't put the model
no one else bid on it. There was no bids. I was the only bidder.
No model number.
No model number. It just said coffee grinder, and it was faulty. And it's going to grind a huge bean. No, it will grind lots of small, nice beans. But that is amazing. I'm so desperate to keep it. I just have to see whether Beck thinks it's a good idea. I think we can, because what I was thinking is, if we have it,
you're getting shouts for coffee bid.
Coffee bid. Well, what I was thinking is, like, if we put it in the office, then we'll have that nice coffee aroma. Then I'll be more willing to work there and stop. Exactly, because it will be all exactly.
Oh,
see, it works.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
Now that thing is, I think Z is just using reselling to start Z-Bucks. Steve, I'm getting a few. I can see a lot of comments there about coffee. I'm not going to take this too coffee related. Haha, bean grinding on a commercial scale. Yeah. What brand coffee grinder? Myrovic. It almost doesn't matter if you see a coffee grinder of that size and weight,
it's commercial,
and it's under 50 quid. Just buy it.
Yeah.
Just buy it. Guaranteed you'll make profit. Unless it's faulty, obviously. Or actually, I'm not going to make any guarantees. Don't listen to me. This is just my experience. My experience is like a proper grinder. This is actually like a Doge. I think it's an Italian manufacturer. I know, I've checked it out. I believe something like this new would set you back about £500 comfortably.
Yeah.
Comfortably set you back £500. To get it for 20 quid off of eBay is just I thought the coffee gods were smiling. When if it was a bit more expensive, I would have resold it. But it's so cheap. I almost think that the cheapness justifies not to resell it.
Yes.
What do you think, hon? Do you agree? Can we start it or not? Can we keep it?
I don't know. Think about it.
Oh man. You see, like I don't know, guys, but she's kind of like blocking the bean here. Bean blocker. So,
Excuse me.
well, everyone wants a coffee with you. Okay. Karen Barnes asks, how easy do you find it to balance work-life balance, especially with the children? My hubby works insane hours. So other than school hours, we have kids home. Yeah. The balance. It's brilliant. I think it's a bit
of a tough one because there are some days where I don't feel like I've done anything other than just work all day. Yesterday was one of those days. I got up in the morning and it was pretty much constant. Didn't go to bed until about midnight. Because I was up listing. So it was just that felt like a really long day. But then I can sit down and have a break when the kids come in from school. I can sit down for an hour with them or however long they want. They stop to make dinner. It's there is that flexibility about
it. It is. I mean, that's the thing. I think, like, as Rebecca says there, that it can be. You've got to keep an eye on what you're doing because there have been too many times where the kids have suffered because on a weekend we've just decided, we've got to go to this boot fair or this, and then come back and we're all excited about what we picked up, and then the kids can, believe it or not, you can ignore them very easily, even though you're around them a lot more. So it's still something we have to keep an eye on, because and luckily our girls are very vociferous. They will make sure we know. I've just seen a question by Chris Scott's earlier, which I wanted to answer. Other than YouTube, how much of a role do you see your social media platforms playing in the next 12 months? Do you plan on using things like Snapchat or Instagram? I'd like to use Snapchat because I've heard about it. I've never used it, and it's what all the cool kids use, and I'm pretty cool. We've got Instagram. I think, to be honest with you, social media is just as much as you want, isn't it? Or as little as you want. At the moment,
I mean, it can drain on you as well.
Like, it can.
The amount of time that can. It's another distraction, really, isn't it? It can be a distraction. But obviously, it's up to you.
It's up to you how much time you spend on it. I think also in terms of like like your social media presence, I think YouTube is just the most fun way because you've got the options of uploading. You can be more like, you can tell more of a story. You can put videos up for as long or as short length as you like. You can be live as we are now, or you can. I think it gives you a few more options. But I think Instagram and things are nice for like when you're out and about.
Absolutely.
So I do think that's something something I'll keep in mind. There's a lot of Z-Bucks talk. But as Darren Smart says, I should build an extension. It's totally worth it. Make a coffee cake. No pressure pecs. So yeah, it's one of those things. Cora has said, smash that thumbs up, people. So yeah, I mean, if you wish to, I would be very grateful if you smash the like button. And hello to Cora. Karen Barnes in there as well. I don't get Snapchat. I don't get Snapchat either. I have no clue what it is. All I know is that cool-ish or young people use it. And I'm always striving to be cool and young. So
and we do use Instagram.
Well, we don't use. I don't even use Instagram a lot. I think I just use it to like show some, like, if I find something cool or like or get a cool sale or something. I'm kind of starting to use it almost because I'm almost making myself use it.
We've got a Facebook page.
We've got a Facebook page as well. So you're kind of like,
so
how many things do you need? I don't know.
We are using it a little.
But we're working on it. But I think eventually, it all comes into play, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So probably just the guilt any mum feels, to be honest. I no longer work weekends and don't work after school unless I'm really behind, but it's hard. Yes, Karen, I think that's probably right. You never feel like you're doing enough with them, and
Never.
you know.
I mean, I was saying that to you, I think it was yesterday. I just so and said to you, I just don't feel like I've spent any time with them recently. Yeah. It is one of those things, and you do beat yourself up over it, especially if they're right in the same room as you, and you feel like you're another.
There's a question from Carl Johnson. Do you think it's valuable to allow returns on your listings, and under what conditions? As a business seller, you have to have returns. So we have returns enabled on all our listings. You have to have it.
And we actually have 30 days, don't we?
Yeah. Caroline's just answered that actually. So yeah, thanks. Yeah. So I mean, again, in terms of progression, you know, it's been an interesting time. I think definitely you can tell. One thing I'll say is when you get into reselling, if you're new to reselling, I would say don't be harsh on yourself, because people do grow at different speeds. Rebecca has already done more in 5 months than I've probably done in a year. Okay. You've already, listed, you've gotten your head around listings, you've gotten your head around a lot, you've gotten your head around the process a lot quicker. Some people are just fast at learning compared to others. So I would say,
but it's kind of like what I said earlier about, wanting to do the whole process. I kind of feel like, because I feel like I've got so much to learn, that the only way I feel like I'm going to learn it is actually by doing it, and not kind of sitting back and,
Sure. Ian McMillan has a question. Zahir, how do you feel about divulging what you paid for items on social media? Just curious. I feel fine about it. It's not an issue at all.
It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable.
No. I mean, there's plenty of people that do it, and I don't think it necessarily puts people off, because the value. I've always said this. I think that one of the cool things about what we do as resellers is we actually give something proper value. We're not, when we're buying things, we're not scamming people over. We're paying what they want. I'll give you an example. This coffee grinder, I paid 20 quid for it. That's what they started the auction at. It's not my fault that they put it up as an auction, which finished at 9 in the morning. It's not my fault that they didn't even mention the manufacturer's brand or mention that it was even a commercial coffee grinder. It's not my fault that the photos were terrible. There was no item specifics. That's none of that. That they made all those decisions or lack of those decisions. And I paid the asking price. If someone else had bidded, I would have had to outbid them. It's the same. So I don't think there's any shame in sharing. And I actually think that in some cases, for example, if you guys have watched some of the US resellers, one that initially pops to my head is that Nicole State, where she gets lots of her buyers, and she's got a big Instagram following as well. Lots of her buyers buy clothes from her, and she's making videos day in, day out on how she's bought like all these clothes by the kilo. So she's paid like cents or a buck or two for them in some cases, and she still makes, she does her like watchers and followers deals, but she's still making insane profit on those items. So that's my answer to that.
We're both pretty much feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no.
Overall.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. In there. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay. Some questions. Just if you guys have got any questions, please put them in the chat. By the way, 75 people watching. It's amazing. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to smash the like button, it's much appreciated. I just have to say it anytime I can. Is there some conversations going on? Any more questions? I think that's all the questions so far. Question. Okay, here we go. Johnny D asks, how hard did you find it to sell on Amazon at first? Pretty slick on eBay, but on Amazon, not a bean.
We can't really comment.
Yeah, we're not big Amazon sellers. It's not hard. I think it's actually, things will sell themselves on Amazon. I think the work with Amazon is understanding data and how to apply it to what you're buying. With eBay, you've got a lot more control over selling an item. I think on eBay, you have to, as a seller, sell an item unless it's a really hot item. But you can make things look appealing with your photos, your description, your keywords. So I would say that, like, with Amazon, it's a different process where things will sell themselves because, you know, because the listing you can't really have any control over. But in order to sell the right, you have to sell the right things. You've got to be really correct, and we're not really great on that. Check out Nick for that. Nick Hills, obviously, he's doing really well at it. He's been doing it for a couple of years now. Ads in the chat as well, definitely worth watching ads videos on it as well. Ian says, I'm fine with buying, and I agree. We give the seller what the seller asks, but wondered what about the other side of the coin. For example, if a buyer found out how much I had paid, so I left a charity shop label on. Well, again, in that case,
that's a difficult one. Because then you're, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between doing it and supplying that service. I mean, in that particular instance, it's not going to end well. It's not going to look good because it's just, you know, it's just bad to leave the label on it. It happens. It does happen. But I think as
but then what's
buyers don't mind, but sometimes buyers don't mind. Again, that's what I'm saying. Some buyers appreciate.
I was going to say, what's the difference? You know, okay, you can do something obvious with like even the like the charity shop label on. Yeah. But then, say, you know, you've been using Instagram. Yeah. And stuff like that. Then and you outwardly say, oh yeah, I paid this for it. Yeah. And then someone buys it. Someone buys it. There's no difference, really. Yeah. Yeah. You're still telling them what you've paid for an item, and it's up to them whether they're happy.
I think a label is very specific. I think actually having an original label is a specific situation, which just comes across a bit funny because the word charity shop has connotations. Like it just puts people in a funny space. Do you know what I mean? Like it can do. Yeah. I mean, I put it this way: if you're a buyer, I was
going to say the other day, I overheard a conversation in a charity shop, and there was this woman in there, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know why charity shops have so many clothes in it. I can't see anyone wanting to buy secondhand stuff, but we make a business out of it." That's what I felt like saying to her. So like, we do. You know what? We make money from this.
Exactly. Yeah. And one other thing is, I think that a buyer's reaction would be, say if you've left a £5 charity shop sticker on an item that you sold for 50 quid, and then I think a buyer's reaction would be different if it was a £5 label from a shop versus a £5 label from a charity shop. I think if you bought something at clearance for a £5 or something and sold it, I think they would be more likely to be understanding that you're making a profit versus it being a charity shop.
I still don't think it was
it wouldn't sit well. Some people, some people are just going to be upset about it. So hope that's answered that question. Question: have your family asked how your reselling has been since the move? Do they support you now? We do speak to them. I mean, we speak to them as regularly as we can. They've always supported what we do, as you know, they've always been quite supportive of us being resellers. They've always been like, well, if you think it's fine, as long as you're paying your bills, that's what matters. That's what they say.
And they actually do find it amazing. Some of the
stuff they find amazing. They're interested. Like, wow. They're interested in it, and they do kind of just say, you know, like, as long as you're paying your bills, and that's what counts really. So they're pretty supportive. Finn Fashion says Amazon is funny fish. If you have a brand product, that's fine. If you don't like clothing, it's hard work. Yeah, definitely. Richard Hale has a question. Do you put all your items on eBay's GSP or pick and choose what goes on it and what goes UK Post? Good question. We do GSP in most things. However, if it's something that fits in a large letter, we do our own international shipping price. Because I just find that you're more likely to get kind of buyers that way.
Because sometimes through
Well, games don't go on GSP, do they? Video games don't go. But also, if you're selling things like photographs, postcards, or anything like that,
You maybe have
small
sent
items,
it to them cheaper than
way cheaper. Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look. I haven't done that, but just thinking of an example. Maybe a buyer happens to see my YouTube and finds out, am I being paranoid? Ian, you're not being paranoid.
No.
But by the way, it does happen. Recently, the same thing of leaving a sticker on happened to a very experienced reseller in the community called Joe. You must have heard of Joe Selling for Pennies. I think he did it, and obviously it's not nice when it happens. But you know, it's something to just bear in mind. Yeah, Amanda's just backing up that, you know, we're providing a service, not just a product.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's the way. It obviously depends on how you look at it.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. Steve says, I get laughed at when I bring up reselling to people. Nobody can make a living doing that. Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy. We were talking about this earlier. Like, what was it that convinced you to take this step? Because I think it's the fear that stops people in most cases.
I would agree with that. I mean, coming from my point of view, all the times I kept saying to Zahir, no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
We can't afford to lose my wage.
Yeah. When we were down south and you were working full time.
And it was just I kept putting up blockers, and it was just the fear talking.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you proved to me with figures and stuff like that it would work, and then that's what obviously in the end convinced me that because we'd always spoken about wanting to
work together. Exactly.
We just thought it was just one of those things that we
a lot of it comes down to just overcoming, because it's quite a big block, a roadblock to overcome in your head, I think, to not have a guaranteed income. It's not an easy thing to take to get your head around, but I think that's the main roadblock that I think can stop someone from trying to pursue working for themselves. And I'm not saying just reselling, I'm just saying working for yourself, because when you work for yourself, you are directly responsible for that income. And I think it's just I think it's just a roadblock. I don't think that's got anything to do with reselling as such. It could be you setting up an online store of some kind or a service of some kind. You know, you might set there's plumbers out there that work for big plumbing companies, and there's plumbers out there that are self-employed. You know, they both earn good money. I'm guessing the plumbers that are self-employed earn more money in the long run because they get to keep more of what they do. But having the guts to start up your own plumbing business is very different to go to work for someone else's plumbing business. So I think that's something to just think about. Yeah. Most people I know think I do it for fun, says Karen. Carp Fishing asks questions. Have you been close to quitting in the last 2 years due to stress or of income or anything? There's been, in the beginning, when I first started, I would say to Beck, I want to go and try and get my job back. Yes, I did. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Like I said, at first, it's a very difficult thing to get your head around, to not know when your money's coming in. And it's only through having lots of moments where in the end it always seems to work out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like even if it's last moment, you might be like, oh my god, we've not earned any money, but somehow when you look back at the month, it wasn't actually as bad as it felt.
Yes.
Right?
No, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. So,
and plus I think from that side of it is like planning and budgeting more, things like that all come into play.
Definitely.
Because if you're fine, well, you know, we both do this.
I mean, we're not still, but it's still not. We still haven't fully gotten rid of the crutch because we've still got your 3 days, your 13 hours a week, and that just makes us give. It does give.
It just makes us a little bit. Yeah, it makes us feel a bit more comfortable.
It does our food shop, doesn't it?
Well, that's what we use.
Yeah, pretty much. We do our weekly food shop with it, and we could like in the future be comfortable to get rid of it. At the moment, we're not comfortable to get rid of it. Yeah, so I think it's very hard to get around that. But once you get around it, it's fine. But yes, at first I was very often like, oh my god, I should get my job back, or have I made a mistake or not. But you've got, I threw myself. I said earlier that I don't like to throw myself in that deep end. But I had to throw myself in at that deep end because I was at the end of my tether when it came to working for people. I was I just wasn't going to do it again. And you know, even since then, like even just recently when I got the job locally, I just couldn't go in.
Yeah.
And I'm not sorry for it. I just, you know, it's a mindset thing.
It is, definitely.
Yeah. Tricia says, I'm in the process of proving to my partner this can work. We both know the numbers can work, but it's still a big step until you take it.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, Tricia. Yeah.
I mean, even when I came on board, there were, you know,
you had big doubts.
I had
big doubts,
massive doubts,
and the stress still gets to you, doesn't it? Even now, like again, we're in different places now, aren't we? This is quite. This is a progression thing. Yeah. Like I'm more. Yeah. I point at the title because it reminds me. Because this is a progression thing. Because it reminds me that I'm in a different place to you now when it comes to handling the stress of it.
Like I get stressed about I've not done enough work. And then Zahir's here to remind me that, hang on, here's a list of what you've actually managed to get done today. And then he kind of reels this up and I'm like, yeah, but it's not good enough because I haven't done this listing or I haven't done that photograph or whatever. I haven't reached my target that I set myself. And he's like, well, maybe your target's too
yeah, maybe you need to give it more.
Maybe you need to bring it back down. But the thing is, I've always been a really competitive person, really, really driven, and I'm always going to push for like top end in anything.
What she says is true. She says is true.
So you know, I'm always going to do that.
Yeah.
Regardless of, you know.
Exactly. Ian says some people can't believe I'm a reseller because they think selling on eBay is just for the odd bit of money on the side. I'm gradually realizing I can make a living with more persistence.
I think totally. That's what you know, initially that's what most people actually start off thinking though. I mean, even when you spoke to the family, it wasn't until you started going, well, look, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, my family were completely like, you know, shocked by it at first.
Yeah.
They were surprised, but as they were surprised, it proved to them like, you know, look, I've just made a day's wage and I'm doing it regularly, you know, because when you think about it, a day's wage for a lot of people in regular jobs isn't very high. You know, after, you know, like if you get paid like the national minimum wage or a bit above, it's not particularly high when you consider it. So it's very achievable to do it. It's just like Nick says, taking the jump to full-time is a huge commitment and not for the faint-hearted, definitely. I did take on a lot of stress early. If you actually go back on the channel, I think I've made videos about the dark side of reselling or depression when I was feeling a bit down. And again, that's where the community is so amazing because I was feeling down. You were at work. You didn't really get it. You were too busy to get it back then. You were just working.
I would come back in from work and I'd pretty much be a zombie. So.
And you know, I would have no one to sound off like in that sense, and I think that's where the community was so amazingly helpful. And I did actually make some videos about the dark side and the depression. Margaret Texas Gal has recently been talking about it as well, so there is some great videos out there for you guys to take a look at, and because it's not all, you know, like,
and plus now that we're both doing it, what we normally find is like if I'm having a rough day, you're normally there to kind of pick me up, and the same goes for you. If you're having a bit of a down day, then you know, I'm here to go, come on, let's get our act together and let's get some work.
Nick says when we first quit our jobs and went full-time, many people we knew thought we were insane. Yeah, I mean, it just goes with the territory, doesn't it? Gloria says, question, sorry if you already talked about this, will you do more clothes hauls? Last one was great and really great to share info. Gloria, whatever we pick up, we tend to share. So
we always do.
They may be clothes, there may be bean grinder. It's amazing. I would lift it up again, but it's so heavy.
It might be a bit varied.
But
we are picking up
clothes,
more
we
clothes.
are doing more clothes, so yes. Also, if you want to check out Fake Rachel, she put out a video. I haven't seen it yet, but she's put one. So yeah, there's lots of people that do clothes. Caroline, Mrs. M as well. She does, you know, she's picked up a few clothes recently. It's like a few thousand, but it's I
like the way you said a few.
Ian says, you two, Caroline, Nick, Darren, Rachel to mention, but a few have given me the motivation to carry on. I just couldn't work for anyone else anymore. It would do my head in. Yeah, Tom the English Picker once says he's now unemployable, and I think that is a phrase that has stuck with me. Joe asks, what was your job, Z? My last serious job was working as a sales rep. I worked for a company which basically did lots of repping thing, and the last company I worked for was EA. I used to drive around Game, HMV, the supermarkets, trying to promote EA games. It sounds fun, but trust me, I'm a gamer. I love video games. It wasn't fun because it took the fun out of it. Okay. Let's have a look. Steve says it would be weird not having that consistent wage. I know I'd get to the end of the month. I think I'd always be working part-time. Yeah. I know what you mean. Sometimes I just like, I would almost think, sometimes when I'm stressing, I say to myself, when am I getting paid? No, and I'm like, then I realise.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I just wanted to say is like, that is a really massive adjustment. Yeah. Going from a monthly pay to not necessarily having like a set pay date. Yeah. But also there's a question we ask each other each day, isn't it? We always say, what have we done to make money today?
That's our biggest change. I think that's what's helped us the most recently. Our biggest progression, I think, is that asking yourself constantly through the day, what have you done so far that will directly make you money? Yeah. And as a reseller on eBay, there's only a couple of things which will answer that question satisfactorily, and that is, in my opinion, list, obviously.
Have you done your photographs?
Photos and listing. Photos and listing. Yeah, those are the only things. So anything to do with sourcing, I think with those three things, obviously, sourcing, photos and listing. If you haven't done any sourcing, photos and listing, you've done nothing towards.
But it's probably the one thing that we always ask each other.
And listing, and it's about ratios. You know, if you're just doing 100% sourcing, it's not good. No. If you're doing 100% photos, it's not good.
I'm looking at you because,
Why?
You're really good at buying.
And photos. I'm good at photos.
There you are.
You just taken over from photos, but I'm good at photos. Okay. Karen says, dream is hubby can go out on his own, but we want to buy a bigger home on his wages and we pay back the mortgage quicker, so less, bill to pay out. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah. Richard Hale says, I'm looking to give up my full-time job, looking for a part-time job at the moment, about 3 days a week, so I can grow my reselling. That's a great gradual step to take. And it was part of what got me the EA job from the Nestle job, because the EA job was less days a week. It was about 3 or 4 days, whereas the Nestle job was full-time. Question from Carp Fishing, do you budget a lot more than you used to with the employment wage for food, etc.? We haven't been
starting
we haven't been, and it has hurt us.
I will say we've only, it's really bad though, isn't it, to admit this, but we've only just started tracking and budgeting, which,
and we're still not fully doing it. We're still, our habits aren't there, but it's so important. When we've done it, it has made a huge difference, because you will get to that point where no matter how much turnover, how many sales, how much profit you're making, if you're not tracking it so tightly, it just goes. It just goes. So you've got to be careful with that. It's definitely, we've definitely been budgeting more carp fishing. Yes, definitely. Daniel asks, how do you overcome slow sales, mentally or actually? Like, well, it's both, they're linked anyway, mentally and actually they're linked.
It's kind of like the listing.
Be active on your account.
List through it.
If you're really trying to push it, go through it, see whether you can add best offer to some items. Make sure your pricing is competitive. Make sure your keywords are good. All the things that you should do, you've got to do. Like, if something's just not selling, just make sure it's nothing that you could do to affect it. Mentally, it's hard to overcome slow sales. It can really get you down. You can be doing really well, and all it takes is about 3 or 4 days of no sales or low sales. Being more realistic, it's never no sales, it's low sales. It will get you down, it'll hit you. It's like a punch to the gut, it wins you. But you have to, again, it's one of those things you learn. It's part of learning, coping with being your own boss, because in your head, when you've had a few slow days, you're like, oh, that's not good, we've got bills to pay, we've got this going. But it's all part of coping with the low sales and with coping of the pressure of paying your bills using reselling. So that's how I feel. Tricia says, it doesn't have to be all or nothing though. I've been self-employed for years and have never relied on one source of income. It's more like 4 or 5. Brilliant.
Exactly.
The average millionaire has 7 streams of income.
And that's what another thing that we talk about as well. We're like, right, what can we do to make another side of income kind of thing, and it's something we discuss, and we do
definitely. Yeah. Kevin Rosen says, I suppose saying things like "I do things" didn't go down well with your boss.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, but I did things, and I still do things. So
I'm just gonna keep saying that.
Okay. Malinki says reselling is not always a choice. It is something that people fall into and then realize how much fun it is. That's very true as well, because sometimes people have no choice. Something goes wrong out of their control, like a job can go or something like that. Family circumstance changes. French Fancy says, I had no choice. Living in the middle of nowhere in one of the highest unemployment areas of France, it was a necessity to become a reseller. Yeah, fantastic. Nick says, well says Z bro, thank you for that. Ads, oh gosh, oh god, I'm so bad at this thing, damn it. God, I've just lost it. I thought I was doing okay, damn it. Gosh. Ads, it says it's hard, especially this time of year. Question, what felt better, your first paycheck or your first eBay sale? I remember my first big eBay sale. I don't actually remember my first eBay sale, but my first big eBay sale I remember, and I still remember, like, I was jumping up and down, wasn't I? Like saying, yeah, look how much money.
Yeah, like, look at this.
Yeah, I bought, this is so silly, I went to auction and I bought like an alcohol monitor. I think I paid like £60 for it. It was probably one of my biggest spends early on as well. I think I sold it for $260 or something like that, and I was like pumped. It was like a Sunday night sale. I remember jumping around going, Peg, look, I've just made, whatever. And
you were so happy.
Yeah,
so
I'll always remember that. Joe Burma says, yeah, I've heard her. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to move past that one. Steve says, that's a great question to ask yourself and putting that on the fridge. Ad says 100% sourcing sounds good. Okay, so we are quite far behind. Carla has joined. Hello, Carla. Sorry for being late. Nick says, after a certain amount of time working for yourself, you end up having faith in yourself that you can make it work, but it takes time and we will have wobbles. Totally true. If that's the other thing, being able to speak to someone like Nick, who it's reassuring, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great community out there that we can kind of go and rely on and go and chat to, and it's great.
Steve Laming says, I print t-shirts as well as reselling. You could have a second outlet to fall back on if one does not make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, it's really important. Raz says, do you put aside for the tax man? Hell yeah, you have to.
Yes.
It's due on the 31st of January. Get it sorted if you haven't. Otherwise, it's just unnecessary stress. Question, you guys from Quack Fishing, ever argued in employment job? Any good stories? Oh gosh, I don't really want to go over old employment stories, but
you were probably one of the people.
I used to walk out of jobs, and
didn't want you to sit
I never worked notice for anyone. I never left on good terms. So I'd rather not talk about it. It made me feel bad about myself, put it that way. So it's one of those. It's been a fantastic little chat. We're coming up to 8 o'clock. We've got 82 people in here, which is insane. 82 people watching us on a Friday evening. I hope you enjoyed the topic. I hope we've made it interesting for you guys. We love the support. We love the chat. The chat is so active. It's difficult to keep,
Yeah.
Exactly. Carla says, Z, you sound like the ideal employee. I was terrible, Carla. But it made me feel bad. That was the worst part about it.
You used to come home really
I used to come home depressed.
So angry sometimes.
I watch Steve sometimes, and I think when he hasn't done a rant for ages, and he did one recently. Steve, I kind of feel it. We're kindred spirits. I really do think that. It will happen where you're just gonna wake up one day and you're gonna be like, I'm not coming in, and then they're gonna be like, what do you mean you're not coming in? How are you gonna get what they used to threaten you with? How are you gonna get another job without reference? And I used to be like, what? Is that a threat to me? I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand. How is that a threat? I don't want another job, you dirty mother. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, did you ever get fired, Kevin?
Do you know what? It's not that late in the evening.
Yeah, sorry,
you get away with that language.
I know. But like, I never got fired. I must have come close, but I never got fired. I think I'm like a rat. I can smell when I'm about to be on a sinking ship, and I'd always jump.
Yeah. You would.
Yeah. So
you would always jump before.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are humbled beyond. I can't express it. No. It's amazing. It's amazing. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Yeah. Really appreciate it. You guys are just fantastic. We just love this chat. And hopefully we'll be back tomorrow with another video of some kind. I think.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a vlog or what we're going to do.
Can I just quickly, before we go, I was going to say, Nick Hill says, walking out on jobs is the best feeling. Walked out on every job I ever had. He's just wearing that with pride. He's owning it, Nick is. And I'm the same as that, definitely. And just it's the best feeling. You don't know, she's a conformist, guys. I just want to let you know she's a conformist. I used to call her company man. I know she's like a woman, but I used to call her company man, didn't I? Yeah. We used to, anyway. Yeah. We're going to call it an end to that. Okay, guys.
Why you gone down that route?
Well, because, Nick said about...
Yeah, the company man.
That's what he used to call you. Okay. You didn't like it, did you?
No.
No, sorry. All right, love you. Love you guys, actually. Well, yeah, why not? Love you guys. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.